we got werewolves, we got Romans, we got Greeks, and we have the Avengers with Cap. So find out my thoughts on whether these books make good film or television right now. All right, welcome back to another episode. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff today, but mostly we're going to be having talk about independent books. So if you guys want to know what's out there other than Marvel and DC, you're going to be finding out today as well. So before we get into that, I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And I'm so glad you asked. We have our own book up on Kickstarter right now. We have Lords of LA. This is my vampire mob in the 50s. This is number 1. It's 48 pages long. As you can see, I do sign them. Oh, wrong side. And we have issue 2 up right now. You'll be able to get issue 1 and issue 2 up there. So you can get caught up. You can do it digitally. You can get it signed with variant different covers. We have 6 different covers to choose from. You can get them all. You can get whatever your favorite is. And this takes place in the 50s, back and forth between the 50s and current time. So we have an immortality thing going on, so we can see everything that happens in the vintage time, and then everything that's happening now. It's full of sex and blood and bloody revenge is what I called it. It's bloody revenge because we have a lounge singer named Lena that was turned by one of the mob bosses in the 50s. And now, 60 years later, she's come back for revenge against them because she has no idea who to turn them. So she's just going to do Scorched Earth. Lots of fun. So check that out on Kickstarter right now. We're only $500 left from achieving the goal. So thank you guys so much. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to talk about first, as I'm putting this one up first because A, I have no DC, and B, I don't want it sitting on the spindle too long here because it's old. So I have no idea what year this was, but I believe it was the early 80s. And this was an appearance of the Punisher in Captain America. So it's written, I need my glasses here, by Mike Barr. And, we start out, first of all, just all of the different ads and everything else in here. I mean, when are you going to see a BB gun ad in present time? Never. Never. So it starts out with these guys that are probably trying to take this guy into an alley because he's informing on the mob or whatever. And of course, Cap stops them. And this is just a classic look of Cap. I mean, it's on a newsprint paper. This is not a reprint. This is an actual issue. That's why it says, 40 cents on the cover. So, but I had this book when I was a child. And so when I saw it on the rack, it was only $15. I mean, it's not in great shape. But it just, I just had to have it. So, I mean, look at this. We have Rom in there. Yeah, these are all the toys. And then on this side, you have Cheryl Ladd and Suzanne Summer posters for $1. And of course, it's all like mail away stuff. We have the old look of when, he's jumping. So you see multiple versions of himself in a single panel to show movement. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. So he has a fight with the Punisher, and the Punisher has more of a villainous look, with the hair that's kind of out to the side. He's got that very villainous face, so it's kind of elongated and stuff like that. But anyway, he beats Cap. So Cap throws him, but then when Cap throws the shield at him, he ends up blocking it or deflecting it with the shield and tapping it to the floor. And then he's standing on it while he's holding the gun on Cap. And, of course, he got the information he needed from the informant who used to work for the mob. And now he doesn't need the guy anymore. He's going to kill him. And Cap was like, yeah, you're not doing that. check this out. Check this out. I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on the ads. But anyway, check this out. This is Star Wars before Empire came out. These all the toys. And the sad part is I had most of them. So anyway, the guy actually gets killed here, which is unusual for back in the day to show someone getting killed. But yeah, he shoots him in the back, and then he escapes, and then he sets explosives up because they figure out. Yeah, look at that, Elastic, Spider-Man, and Hulk, and Rom again. They did a Rom comic. That's pretty wild. But yeah, Rom's something I haven't seen in forever. That's why I saw that, I was like, wow. So anyway, he was about to detonate the mob meeting, and Cap puts the detonator out of his hand with the shield, and of course he's not looking to kill Cap, so he just fires at him. Let's see, and I was like getting distracted by the ads again. But anyway, so he hasn't detonated, but we find out that there was an actual undercover cop in there, or an undercover Fed, and he gives himself up. So Frank gives himself up, but not really. So he ends up detonating the thing anyway and escaping. But all the guys were in custody. All the mobs were in custody. So yeah, I mean, this was lots of fun. So this will make a good film. I think it would make a good episode, but not if there's not enough here for a film. And this is one of those, ones where, back in the day, it was really self-contained. There was, obviously as time went on, there was, more and more, lengthy storylines that went through multiple episodes. And, there's like a B-line storyline that's, continuing, but the A-line storyline ended, so it's pretty interesting. And yeah, I loved it. It's too bad they don't write Cap like that anymore. I mean, nobody's even collecting Cap now at all. It's sad. All right, so moving on. But yeah, I probably spent a lot of time on that one, just showing the ads. What do you guys think of that? Isn't that pretty cool? So let's go on to Avengers by Jed MacKay. This was the one where we had all the godlike creatures that they were all fighting, and the ultimate wisdom of Carol told her street level characters, meaning Black Panther and Falcon Cap, to go into space and blow up their city, which ends up being a smart city. No loss of inference there. And if anything went wrong, they guys were stuck in space. I mean, that's brilliant tactical thinking. Brilliant. So, fortunately for them, it didn't go wrong, and they ended up not destroying. Well, they destroyed it, but the essence of it was not lost. So it became part of their team. I don't really know how that's working. So anyway, this one is something we've seen before, and that's with all of the Avengers dying. So we see all the Avengers die, which we've seen. We even saw that in the movie, where Tony has the vision of everybody dying. And then we got a big monster destroying the city, whatever. Nothing we haven't seen before. And the artwork is all right, nothing great. And, we fight the big monster, and he looks like Jaguar from Godzilla with the face like that. You can tell I wasn't really enthused by this book. So as they're fighting the big monster, Scarlet Witch realizes that it's not real and that it's Nightmare doing all this, which I thought that I like that. That's the one thing I do like. And of course, it's like the last page of the book. And, we see everybody underground. Everybody's kind of getting back up kind of thing. and Vision's there. I like Vision and Scarlet Witch. I just buy a book just with Vision and Scarlet Witch. So we get this new group come up and tell them that they're looking for Kang or whatever. What did they say? We have come to bring an end to Kang the Conqueror. Yeah, so they're looking to kill Kang, which I would just say, okay, go ahead. Who you think we're gonna stop you? Go around us, man. So I like the ending, but I didn't like any of the rest of it. I didn't like any of the rest of it, and so we make a good film or television show? No. I'm waiting to see what they do with Nightmare, but that's it for me for on that one. It's not that good, and I don't know how long I'm going to keep getting it if it doesn't speed up here a little bit. All right, then we got a bunch of my Kickstarter. Well, I have two Kickstarters here, and one is by Dolan, which is Drew from Comic Elite, that does some work with Wes on his channel. They do a weekly review of the best comics of the week on Saturdays. If you haven't seen Wes's channel, it's called Thinking Critical. And but anyway, so this was the story about the Spartans, and this is number 4. I've only got 3 and 4, so I don't know what happened really in 1 and 2. But this is about a female and Spartan and Leonidas, which is the same guy that, of course, 300's written about. And they the whole last issue they were in jail and or imprisoned with shackled against the wall, and now they got out, but they ended up on a cliff, and Leonidas fell, and the girl is trying to help him up, and she helps him up, and the guards are coming. Leonidas says, okay, I'll take care of the guards, and she says, I'm going to go take care of the prisoners and whoever else shows up in there. So she ends up fighting. We got this really long fight of one of their jailers as she's trying to, I guess, free the other prisoners. And the fight gets pretty bloody, but I mean, the artwork in here is not very good. I mean, you can tell that it's very sketchy. It's not very polished art, and I don't know if it's meant to be that way, but if it is, I'm just like even this head looks bigger than the body, and stuff like that. So I wasn't that enthralled with the art, and once you take away some of the art, then it's not as fun for me anyway. When I'm not, that's something with Void Rivals. I think I'm getting used to that art, but it's not my style. So anyway, so we, of course, the battle ends with the villain getting impaled, and then she and Leonidas leave, but she's given a helm by one of the prisoners. And the helm, this is where it loses me. So the helm is magical, but we've done no magic in this entire book other than this. So she's given this helm, and it magically heals her. So it's kind of a very divisive element to the story, where we're just given this device that just alters the fabric of the story for no reason, because I didn't hear it talked about in the last issue, which means this is the first time it's coming up for me as a reader. And so they're trying to get back to Sparta. They're going through all fighting wolves and things to that effect. They're basically traversing this dangerous landscape, and Leonidas gets hurt protecting both of them, I guess. And she gives him the helm, and of course now he's magically healed. See, it's the device. The device is very, very strange. So then they've developed a relationship. So there's a little bit of nudity in here and stuff like that. So they're getting it on. Woohoo! Getting it on. How else can you pass the time traversing, an entire continent? So anyway, they end up back at Sparta, and they're like, "Oh, you're alive, you're alive." And then we find out that I guess the person on the throne is not meant to be there, and the mother is, pulling the strings on this, and they have no idea what they're walking into, and it's held up on that kind of cliffhanger. So it would make a good film or television show. Now, adding a magical element to this when it wasn't there before, and it's also moving extremely slowly. So we had an entire issue in the prison, and then we're still in the prison for half of this issue, and the other half is them, getting back to Sparta. So there's not a whole lot of story here. So I would say no. And again, I wish the artwork was better. I've obviously read some of his other stuff that the artwork is better in. So not a huge fan of Born of Blood so far. Let's see where it goes. I don't know if there's basically one issue left. I know it's over, so maybe there's just one issue left coming up. So then we go into Unnatural Order, and this was by Vault and Christopher Yost, and it was given away to the comic shops. So it had a huge print run because there was no risk. The comic shops just said, "Yeah, take it, it's free. And if you want the second one, just let me know." So good for them because I'm one of the guys that said, "Yeah, I'll pay for the second issue." So it's a pretty long issue, and I think it was $5, but I didn't pay that. But that's what's actually on the back of the book. So this is kind of like, I'm trying to figure out a genre here. So this is like Roman D&D. That's the only thing I can kind of describe it. So like I said, we start out with like this Roman guy, and there's this like a wizard, and he has this tree that he's like taking power from and stuff like that. So he's like, "You're coming with us," and he's like, "Yeah, no," and he turns one into a tree and self combusts the other. We don't know what happens to the other guy. So I think it's the same guy that we see later, but I don't know if it is. There's another guy in there that has Roman armor, but I'm not sure if it's the same guy. So then we have, and the artwork's not bad. I mean, I don't like the way they draw some of the rounded faces, but it's not bad. It's very moody. But anyway, she's this. Then we cut to this woman running from these wolves, and the wolves stand up, and I thought that was kind of cool. And she's basically playing bait for the rest of her team to show up. And so, see what I'm saying? There's your group, right? There's your D&D group. That's your party. So we have this, Gunther like guy that's a barbarian, and then you have the guy that's the Roman guy, and then you have like an elf girl, stuff like that. So it's like I'm saying, or he's a dude, and there's another girl with the spear. That's a warrior. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's you have a party. So you have a party going through this thing, and I guess they're trying to find that same guy that has the tree and stuff like that. And then you have the magic user. The one that was running was actually a magic user, and the thing tries to leap at him, and she just disintegrates it. So yeah, so it's very interesting because it's a D&D thing without being D&D. I don't know. And then the guy gets on everybody's nerves. I don't know if that's his name, but I'm just making it up. And we get introduced to the characters, but we get introduced in a way that's more story based than an info dump, which I appreciate. Yeah. So then we talk about the tree again. So obviously these guys are looking forward. That's why it makes me think that Roman guy is not the same guy. But then we have these big monsters attack the tavern, which are pretty cool looking, and everybody kind of tries to get us to escape. And they get on a ship. So we have this whole journey thing happening. And then we go into this thing, almost like Wicker Man type of situation going on there. But they're like, it's the gods and things to that effect. And when they get up on shore, um, they go into one of the huts there or whatever, and they find this guy. Okay, so this is where it gets weird. This is why. So the cliffhanger here is interesting because I'm going to read you the balloon that he's saying. Okay, so it says, "Who the fuck are you, Renaissance fair motherfuckers, supposed to be?" So that means he's from the future, right? Or some other thing, right? That other dimension or whatever, because he called him Renaissance Fair, right? And you only call that if you're from the future. So I thought that was really interesting. So it ends up with D&D mixed with time travel. I don't know what's going on, but I'm intrigued enough to find out in the next issue. So Unnatural Order, Chris, it was a free book, and I liked it. I am going to reserve, however, whether it make a good film or television show because I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on, but I like the fact that it's like a party of heroes looking for the big bad, and then we run into this guy from the future. That's pretty cool, I think. So yeah, I liked it. All right, so let's get into White Wolf or Night Wolf, I mean. Uh, and this is by Rob Terry, who's a friend of mine, who's gonna hate me. But he has his own Kickstarter running for I think it's issue 8. So if you want to jump in on that, a lot of Kickstarters are running right now. In fact, I'm also working with Mark Spears, and he does Bond covers stuff like that. He's got his monster comic that's going to be running shortly. I don't know if it's running right now, but it will be within the next few days. So this one is about a group of werewolves that started out like in Scotland, and we have a vampire as well that's running around, and I think all the werewolves are kind of clannish, and we have this Snowpaw character, and we have a character named Silvermane. They're all werewolves, and you have this one jock guy that ends up turning into a werewolf, and he's hooked up with this other werewolf that's trying to teach him, but he's kind of being a dick. And so that's what's going on basically right now. And he got captured, and so I found this strange. I hate to say it, Rob, but so right here we see that the werewolf that's about to attack him is like tan. I know that's like there's a light on it, but then we cut to the front, and he's dark. I was confused by that. But anyway, so the and I gotta say that the designs of the werewolves are pretty good. I mean, you have a different kind of look because they're more warrior um, werewolves. So it's kind of like Underworld, but you give them weapons and they're wearing clothes. So because I guess they can change whatever they want. It's not based on anything. So we have this big battle with the other, I guess the other vampire person, and I have collected this like pretty much almost from the beginning, but I don't know all the characters. But I feel that this issue, at least half of it, is my favorite, and it's because I like all this stuff. So they're trying to get out of the cave. There we have, them the vampires there are spraying flamethrowers at them, which I thought was kind of cool. And then we switch scenes. So we switch scenes to because they keep talking about Jen or whatever, and she's with this guy named Victor, who I guess is a vampire, and the color on this is real nice. The faces on this kill me sometimes though. So anyway, we switch back because he's like, I want to know everything about you. I want to know what's going on. I don't remember certain things, blah, blah, blah. And he says, fine, you want me to tell you? And they're in a restaurant and they go through a portal. And she's like, what the hell? So we get back to the battle. And I thought this is definitely different. So down here, you got werewolf with pistols. So you have John Wick werewolf. So anyway, they have everything's on fire, including a thing of TNT on the bottom there. So they got to get out of this mine shaft or cave or whatever. And then we get a nice little Hollywood explosion, and they get out just in time. And we go to. So this is where it loses me. Okay, so I liked everything up till there. And then we get an info dump about Victor and his origin and how he was turned, and then he was looking for power, so he killed the girl that basically made him, and he took the throne and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, we got one info dump, fine, but then we get another scene of just, oh, we have other tracks coming in, so they're tracking these people, the werewolves or whatever. And then, where is it? We get a whole other info dump. See, a whole nother info dump. Look at all that. And then we talk. He wants to know everything about. And I like the fact that she talks in a Scottish accent. He actually writes a Scottish accent. I like that. But anyway, he asks her about her origin story, meaning the female werewolf, and then she does a whole info dump. Instead of continuing on with the action, he goes. So he has a whole beginning that's basically it's a whole lot of action. We go into where Victor is with the girl, and then we get info dump, info dump, info dump. And that's where it ends. It doesn't even end on a cliffhanger. It just ends with dialogue. So, yeah. Rob, what are you doing, man? So, will it make a good film or television show? Yeah, it needs to be rewritten so that it doesn't have all these info dumps. But, come on. A werewolf shooting guns? When are you going to see that? And I like the look of the characters and stuff like that. But I think I'll see what the next episode brings. So I'm going to say yes, but needs a rewrite. Unnatural Order. I'm leaning towards yes, but I'm waiting to see what he does with this whole time travel thing. Born of Blood. Not a whole lot going on there. Not enough to warrant a film or television show. Avengers, no, not good. And then we have Cap, which would have been a really good episode. Oh my God, if they did like Daredevil with Netflix with the Punisher in it, and this was one of the things with Captain America. Oh my God, that would have been great. That would have been great. So I love that issue. Again, I have it's a lot of heartwarming thing for me because I had it when I was a kid. So anyway, that's going in my save file, even though it's probably not worth a damn piece of shit, but because it's all beat up. But anyway, it's worth it to me. All right, and then real quick, I just wanted to remind you guys, yes, I'm going to remind you to go to Kickstarter and type in Lords of LA. Go ahead and click the QR code or whatever, or click the link below. Go there and go put some money into Lords of LA. I only have $500 left. You guys can help me out, and you're not going to really be sad about it because we have Marilyn Monroe in here. We got action. We got sex. We got gore. We got a little bit of everything. Anything you'd kind of want from a vampire movie or TV show. From a vampire comic. And on top of that, we have Tommy guns. We have car chases. We got all this other stuff to even bring it into the action side. All right, so check that out. And any help you can give me would be appreciated. And remember to like and subscribe. And yes, I am going to see the Marvels tomorrow, so I can review it. But I've heard nothing but bad, except Sean Chandler. He was the only one that positively reviewed it because I think he went with his daughter and he was able to see the movie through his daughter's eyes, I guess. But I've heard nothing else positive about it, so I'm going to review it, but there's going to be nothing good here to see. All right, check out some of my other videos that will pop up. And again, thank you guys so much for helping me grow the channel out. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you guys are collecting and suggesting. All right, thanks, guys.